Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, baby.
Hi, baby. Good morning.
How you feeling this morning, baby?
I'm fine. You got me working day and night.
We gotta get in these hours. We gotta get in these hours, and there's some hot things to talk about, especially with Disney. But before we get into that, how you been?
I've been good. Blessed and highly favored. Well loved, just doing.
I feel out of tone because I don't got my picture showing like you do. So I'm gonna go ahead and correct. Go ahead, get that out. There we go. Now we good. My microphone is in the way. There we go. Much better. Much better. Hey to everybody in the chat. Let's give our welcomes. K Dubs, what's going on? It's been a minute since I sent you K Dubs. Hopefully everything is good. You said it's hot as hell in motherfucking California. That's some crazy shit. Yvette, what's going on, sis? Hope all is well. Through the Fire podcast. Oh, that's for you, baby. That's for you.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
And Osmond, my motherfucking G was popping. G, what's going on? Yvette says my favorite power couple.
We just trying to make it. Shout out to the church.
Just trying to make it. And shout out to all of those on the other platforms. Greatly appreciate y'all for tuning in. Not giving in to any bullshit or drama today. We're just going to be talking about this kerfuffle that Disney have found themselves into. Baby, what's your history with Disney? Do you like Disney?
So with Disney, I'm kind of torn because I love Disney movies. Like I am a Disney girl. Aladdin, you know what I'm saying? The Princess and the Frog, Cinderella, all of them.
Mm.
But they're a little sketchy with the subliminal imagery they put in and the subtext of a lot of their movies and music. So I'm always like kind of torn.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you feel about Disney?
I have a very small history with Disney movies because we grew up in a household where work came first, play came later, and by the time it was time to play, you was too tired because we worked. I mean, my father was a carpentryman and a roofer for about 40-something years. So by the time I was like 12 years old, we was picking up shingles. So I don't know too much about Disney. Nah, I got kids now. I got to get more invested into the Disney thing. But I do know that Disney has always been really sketchy, at least like from the age when I was like 16 and up. I would watch Disney movies and I would see certain things like little hidden messages within the movie and stuff like that. Like smoke comes out and it says the word sex or something like that. It's like, wait, what are we doing here? And then like at certain points you can pause in the movie is look like it's a very sketchy shadow or silhouette in the window. It's like, wait, what's going on here? But yeah, and then you also hear about like the Disney scandals, people coming up missing, children coming up missing. It's a little crazy. Invader Attack, what is going on, my G? What is going on? But yeah, that's my small, brief little history with Disney. Now, as of recently, a few days ago to be exact, shout out to James O'Keefe and the O'Keefe Media Group.com. They came out with a little, I want to say an expose, but I would say more that is just a behind the scenes, in your face. Hey, Almanaz, what's going on? And matter of fact, chat members, what's y'all history with Disney? What's y'all interaction with? Do y'all know a lot about Disney? What's going on? But I wanted to react really quick to what Through the Fire podcast says. He says, "Can you believe someone texted me? How come I didn't super chat them? The fucking lunatics! Jesus Christ! Listen." Super chats and cash apps are a thanks to the hosts of the show. If you show your support by way of doing so, it's greatly appreciated. But a lot of people, they live for super chats and cash apps. We are grateful for them. Now, are we going to dissuade you away from doing so? Hell no. Super chat the motherfucking show. Cash app the goddamn host. The cash app of both the host is flowing at the bottom in the banner. So if you would like to do so and support the show, then go ahead. Support. Listen, we greatly appreciate it.
Get on your cash app.
All right. Now that we got that.
Pastor Wilson says, Disney is a mess. I'm from Florida, and they use their interns like slaves, making them pay for expensive housing. They make male shave all facial hair, and they bully the city of Orlando. I believe it because
Really?
Disney got too much going on. Disney, has a lot of money, and they bring people to Florida. Everybody comes to Florida all the time to go to Disney Studios, to go to all the attractions and the rides, and it costs a lot of money. And I think Disney is very much Disney World, Disneyland, whatever, is very much overrated.
Really? That's what that's what they do?
Yes.
That's some crazy shit. The thing is, when I first heard of, like, and you know what? Shout out to my guy, Legal Mindset. He covered quite a bit of things when it came to Disney, and I reached out to him, but maybe he's asleep because he's in a different time zone. Excuse me. But today we'll be talking about this little thing that happened with Michael Giordano. He is a senior vice president and team lead of the Walt Disney Company. And I'm going to take down the banner for just a second so everybody can see what he said. There's no way we're hiring a white male for this role. It's a brief little snippet. And also, baby, how do we feel about opening up a panel? Were you okay for bringing guests on? I really want to talk to Joe. Oh, okay, cool. Jay Wilson, he put it in something that was very great and could be a great addition to the show. Dr. Jay Wilson, if you are more than welcome to come up if you are available. And also, shout out to my man Smitty. What's going on, Smitty? What's happening, my G? Hope all is well, my dog. But we're going to get into this thing. I'm going to go ahead and pull up It's Like Midnight where mine says that, yeah, he might be asleep. Big Rig, what's going on, my G? Thank y'all for stopping by. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull this up, and we're going to get into it. So, all right.
We never behave. We never behave. We never will behave.
We never behave. All right, so James O'Keefe posted this. He says, breaking, senior vice president at the Walt Disney Company details discriminatory hiring practices. Nobody else is going to tell you this, but they're not considering any white males for this job, says Michael. He's a vice president of business affairs. There's no way we're hiring a white male. Giordano reveals Disney uses code words and buzzwords to avoid legal action and even mentions a candidate being rejected for not being black enough. Giordano also,
not looking black enough, insane.
Giordano also admits Disney gives bonuses to executives for practicing diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. If you ever been through this type of training, agreeing that diversity helps with financial incentives. Giordano further claims that he's been denied promotions due to his race. Stay tuned for the Disney Tapes Part 2. And it's only a 20-minute long video, but I think...
Well, we do have Dr. Wilson up here, baby.
Hey, Dr. Wilson, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. My bad. I wasn't looking at the StreamYard. I was doing my best to read the Twitter post. But thank you for coming to the show. My first time interacting with you. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It's really funny that you all are bringing up Disney. I am from Florida, and a lot of college students think they are doing well when they get a Disney intern, but they don't realize that Disney will pay the minimum wage and they have to live on Disney property, even though they give them free park access, they never get to use it because they work them so much. And so everybody in Florida knows that you never do a Disney intern, even in college, because Disney don't pay well, and they really cheat their interns. They don't pay them well. That rent that they charge is extreme, and you got to pay that money. Also, Disney bullies the city of Orlando. They were trying to get light rail, and Disney kind of struck it down because it was going to go to SeaWorld as well. And Disney did not want the other attractions to get a train station, so they kind of derailed it. So Disney is not all that great, and we love them because, of course, they bring in the tourist dollars, but you got to pay the price to have Disney, and they're not always great players. And the last thing about Disney that's really interesting is, they don't allow men to have facial hair. You got to shave. And not only that, but if you look at all of the entertainers that come out of Disney, they usually have some major psychological problems or they have some issues later down the road. So those are a few things that I really wanted to say about Disney. These are some things that I know personally about Disney.
Now, you see, it's interesting that you bring that up about SeaWorld, because Disney would really do good to partner with other tourist attractions. That would be super dope if in Orlando they had a train that would go to all the tourist locations. They could partner together, maybe give discounts. If you bought a ticket at SeaWorld, you could get like 10% off admission to Disney. Like, it's bad business.
Well, it's Disney wants all of the business. They don't want any competition, and because they hope, I want you all to know that Disney World's their land property ownership is bigger than the city of Orlando. When Ron DeSantis started fighting with them, everybody knew that was a bad prospect because Disney owns a lot. People don't know that Celebration and all of those subdivisions, that's Disney development. So Disney knows that they bring a lot of money. Unlike Disneyland in California, Disney World was really large. I mean, they bought a lot of property. And a lot of people don't know the history of Disney. When they were even thinking about Florida as its theme park, they were buying farmers and places out dirt cheap under other companies, so people didn't know it was Disney. And once they found out that Disney was going to do this, it was too late. Disney got that land for a song. They paid little money to get that property. So Disney is a no joke player, and we all know that Disney himself was not. He was a racist man. He didn't care for black people too much, but it is what it is. That whole corporation has something around it. And so, yeah, it's a love to hate corporation.
See, yeah, a lot of people don't know Walt Disney was a piece of work. But with the facial hair, it lends weight to the fact that they want everybody to be forever young. Like, it's an interesting dynamic that they put there. But I was really blown away by the fact that they're not hiring white men and that people have to look a certain level of black. Like, not black enough it's a pretty dangerous thing, especially when we're talking about the wages that they pay and they're not paying a decent wage. So they want to pay black people less than what they are worth. Disney pulls in a lot of money, really a lot.
Yeah. Well, they've been having problems at Disneyland in Anaheim because their workers have been getting food stamps and all of this.
Food stamps? I wish I
are not paid that well.
Yeah, your sound had went out a little bit. It went out after you said food stamps. What you mean people working at Disney get food stamps? They should be.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Well, yes. a lot of their workers, like cashiers, the people in food service, even the characters, they don't make that much money. I'm telling you, Disney does not pay their workers well. And so a lot of the workers were complaining because California is extremely expensive and Florida is on that way too. And so a lot of those people who work at Disney apply for food stamps and financial assistance because they cannot make it on the wages that Disney pay for their frontline workers.
Which is crazy because the same thing applies with Walmart. And Walmart in China actually makes their workers rents apartments from them, and they charge them astronomical amounts of money as well. So why are these corporations that are making all of this money abusing their workers like this? This is insane. And no one's going to boycott Disney, and no one's going to boycott. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is what Disney does to interns, because you got to stay on Disney property. And so they will charge these interns, they'll pay these interns maybe $9-10 an hour, but the rent is expensive. So all the interns live in one apartment. So you might have 4 people living in that one apartment to make rent. And even though they get free admissions to the park, they work them so many hours that they don't get to enjoy it. And so it's funny because a lot of people will come to corporations to say, oh, I did an intern at Disney. And of course it's impressive. but people from Florida know what an intern from Disney entails. That means you work your behind off folding clothes, picking up gum, working at a fast food joint, doing that because they give you the lure of this is you're a cast member and all of this great stuff. But when you get there, it's not what you expect.
Dang. That's pretty goddamn crazy. But Pastor Wilson, Dr. J. Wilson, have you seen this this news story that was put out by James O'Keefe? I'm going to bring up the screen, and bam, there we go. Have you seen this video yet?
I have not. As a matter of fact, I was just scrolling through the YouTube streets and I happened to see that Raw was on, and I just noticed the Disney situation, and I did not know that you all were talking about the movies and all of that stuff because that's problematic as well. So yeah. I did not get to read into it.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and I don't know how long you can stay, but I'm gonna go ahead and play some of the clip. If y'all want me to stop or pause at any moment, just give me a shout out and I'll stop the clip. We're gonna get into this.
Okay.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male.
It's kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male. They say
like straight to you, or okay.
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against white men in particular.
I think I'm sort of well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking at promoting them.
As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney. In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not what they want.
They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now. Who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's going on." They wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting. I mean, it kind of feels like we're at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of
And that.
Now, I have a quick question. As far as hiring practices across the country, it's very illegal to discriminate against people, right?
It is. And it's giving that Michael is a little salty and he shouldn't be having these type of conversations with anyone. But clearly he wanted a promotion that he's not going to get because he's not black. I find it intriguing that we're seeing discrimination against the Caucasian group when it's usually against people of color and minorities. So that's a little interesting as well.
Yeah, definitely. The crazy part is I like Ghost's comment here. Ghost's comment is replace the phrase white male with black male to really feel the outrage. It's really hey, come Pillow Talk. It's really crazy that if this was a black man, or if this was black people that was being discriminated against, yes, the outrage would be crazy. Who we got up here? Peter Pannerkenner, what's going on, my G?
Hey, what's going on? How's everybody doing this weekend?
Blessed.
Hey,
how you doing? What's going on, Raw? Hey, interesting topic. I'm gonna have to red ball to see exactly, which direction y'all was going with this. But next time it comes up, I'm gonna post a link to it. But in Orlando, periodically, I want to say it's the sheriff. He does press conferences on large arrests and situations going on in the Orlando area, right? And he had one of his ongoing things in his press conferences is he'll show the pictures of people that have been arrested and what it was related to. And I was shocked to hear this, and this came out of his mouth that is that Disney World in in Orlando or Disneyland? Disney
It's
World.
Disney
Oh,
World. Disneyland is small and Disney World is large. So Disney World is in Orlando.
Okay, so he was saying that this came out the sheriff's mouth that Disney World Orlando has a very big problem in terms of pedophilia, and it kind of make like a lot of their employees. That's why they seek employment to access the children, and how pedophiles like it's a big sting operation where pedophiles get caught.
PDF files, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where those people, for some reason, like remember Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen? It's the same thing, but these individuals make plans to meet their prospective victims at Disney World. There's a lot of those people that have relocated to the Orlando area just for that very reason. But next time one of those press conferences come up, I'm going to post it on my community wall so y'all can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's a big problem in and around Disney World associated with that issue.
And check this out. The sheriff can't do nothing about it because Disney has their own police force. And so that's the stipulation with Disney, that they can't go on that property because Disney has their own force. I mean, when I tell you Disney has control over Orlando, I mean, they do. They do.
Well, so you saying Disney has its own police force?
They have their own security and police force. Yeah. I mean, you can't. They can't just come on Disney's property unless Disney brings them on. Because again, those are some things that Disney. Y'all don't know. Disney is very powerful. They hold a lot of sway in Orlando.
Or you know what? To mention that, it reminds me a lot of Vatican City. Like Disney World, like it's almost like a Vatican City, where they're like their own state. I mean, it's crazy. Like I've heard some crazy stories about that situation. Like just in terms, I think y'all were talking about like the housing situation. They at one time they built this. It was like a fairy tale type community. And the stipulation to even live there was insane. So
that's Celebration. Celebration is their school.
That's it.
And let me tell you something. Dr. Phillips High School is a performing arts school. That's where Wayne Brady and a lot of people went to school, and that's a feeder to Disney. Most of those kids go straight to Disney because that school, when I tell you that performing arts school is no joke, it's better than most colleges. And most of those students, like Wayne Brady, all of them, I bring him up, they go right to Disney and then start their career. So it's like a feeder system to Disney to keep good entertainment and then to launch careers. Disney is a love-hate company. I mean, they brought major economic bounty to Florida, but then they are a mess too because they can stop progress. But can I say something really quickly too? For so long, Black people didn't get promoted at Disney. And I think a lot of white people are crying. But you look at Disney now, you're not going to see it being diverse as it should be in the upper range of management. So I don't shed no tears for people when it comes to that with Disney because their founder was very racist. So I wish I could shed a tear for that. But now people understand what Black people have to go through or have gone through and still going through.
So when I hear white guys complaining like they're not getting hired because they're white guys, I mean,
I think the premise that they're going for here is I don't think it's just specifically about white men. I think it's more so about the practices, right? So with Disney, and mind you, I'm not vowing for white men should be treated fair. I'm not vowing for that. I think that everyone should be treated equally. But my thing is this. Right. As a manager in a hiring and who has hiring powers, I know that if I discriminate against someone, that's illegal as fuck. That's setting up for a lawsuit immediately. You see what I'm saying?
But brother, you got to know Disney. They are crazy. Do you not know they indoctrinate their people where you got to know all of their characters and you got to know XYZ before you even get hired? It's a major indoctrination. Yes. They call it casting. And you have to know everything. Their characters who play those characters, they control those people like nobody's business. I mean, they really, really indoctrinate their people more than they know. So I know, because again, I wanted to do a Disney intern. And it was like, I don't know if I want to shave all my facial hair. I've had people who were dancers and entertainers with Disney, and they don't play. But I'm gonna tell you, there are a lot of things that are going on. I mean, you look at your Britney Spears, you look at your Justin Timberlakes. All of those people were Mouseketeers, and they worked for Disney before they hit the mainstream. So yeah.
It's crazy how things is being revealed, and I said this at the very beginning of the year. I said 2024 is the year of the Mamba, and it's going to be crazy how much is being exposed and revealed, not just about the common folk, but also about, like, you know, the these big companies. Welcome to the show, Omni. What's going on, my G?
What's going on? What's going on? How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm about to drop down. Hey, thank you for having me up. I'm about to drop down, man. This is a great topic. I'm gonna go back in the chat and listen. All right.
Much appreciated to you, P.
Okay.
All right, so I want to get into more of the video. Again, this is not a piece to where, oh, white men should be protected. No, this is just more talking about the hiring practices. And thank you, Mr. Wilson, for bringing other things to light that, hell, I haven't paid attention to, because, like I said, I'm not that invested into Disney. Even coming up as a kid, I was pretty much focusing to work. But this brings to light more things and more problems, especially with Disney. And I went ahead and tagged Legal Mindset, because he covered quite a bit of stuff about Disney. If anyone hasn't went ahead and seen any Legal Mindset stuff on Disney, make sure you go ahead and give them a click. I'm gonna get to you after I play a little bit of the video. Like I said, if y'all want me to pause the video at any point, just let me know. I'll stop it.
That is a lawyer talking. So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices? They use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like, you know, look, we're not looking at like the usual suspects for this job. You know, so it's like not like a legally actionable thing, but everybody knows what it means. They, you know, for writers and actors, we hear all the time, like, you know, I'm looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are white.
Welcome to the Disney Tapes. My name is James O'Keefe, standing here in Burbank, California, outside Disney corporate headquarters. This is our first part in a series about blatant discrimination and woke policies at the Walt Disney Company. To say that the Disney Company has had a tumultuous 5 years, well, that would be an understatement. Major box office flops, a losing battle with the state of Florida, and a stock that is one of the worst performers on Wall Street. And as you'll probably conclude from this report, as well as recent shareholder rumblings, almost all of Disney's recent failings are as a result of Bob Iger and the cast of characters here at Disney that are trying to force woke DEI policies into every aspect of Disney's vast media empire. What used to be a highly profitable company by being the gold standard of family entertainment has taken a sharp downturn in the wake of all of its wokeness. Under CEO Bob Iger's leadership, Disney's downfall likely started with the insane hiring practices amongst its executives and creative teams. One of their top senior vice presidents claims that they not only discriminate against white men when recruiting and hiring middle management, they actually give bonuses for hiring and retaining employees that are specifically not white. According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against whites, white men in particular. Not a week goes by without a news headline about potential medical supply shortages, threats to our infrastructure or power grid. And you remember what they pulled during the last pandemic. Certain medications were mysteriously out of stock. No way will I ever let that happen again. In today's unpredictable world, it's all about the medical, your wellness.
You know, we have a diversity, equity, inclusion department who's very involved in like setting standards to make sure that our shows have diversity.
Do you think like Bob has a say in the diversity stuff when they're casting people? Like
100%.
So what?
Really quick, Mr. Wilson,
Wow.
is this the guy you was talking about, Bob Iger?
Well, let me. I got some questions, and I'm looking at this footage, and I would love to know where you all got this because they brought back Iger because Disney was not doing well under their last CEO, not Iger. And so my thing is now I'm looking at this and I've got question marks of where it came from because I'm all about knowing people's slant. And I know you were talking about those hiring practices, but DEI has been attacked even in the university system, and now some universities are suffering heavily from it. So that's why I'm questioning, because Iger was brought back because whoever had Disney before he had it was doing such a bad job that they bought him. They brought him back to bring the company upright because shareholders were upset with who they had before. So now I'm questioning the validity of that video because at the end of the day, Iger was brought back because Disney was suffering, and he was brought back. And I don't know if Disney is suffering that badly because, again, they have a whole cruise ship line that if that cruise ship would stop sailing in Port Canaveral, it could do some major damage. I don't think people know how deep Disney is. Again, I don't love Disney like other people do. There's a love-hate relation, but I do know that Bob Iger was brought back to bring Disney upright because at the end of the day, the person who had Disney before Iger was screwing up.
All right.
This comes from O'Keefe Media Group, and they did the undercover interviews with him. So I don't even really know that Michael Giordano knew that he was being recorded with a lot of things that he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think this is more so that if they have diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then they're just taking people out of the running for employment opportunities based on the color of their skin, that kind of goes against their hiring practice. And I think the purpose of this expose is to show that they are, in fact, doing bad business, and they're not hiring who's best for the job. They're just hiring whoever looks the part, which is problematic. It's highly problematic.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question. Would you agree that there were a lot of white people who weren't qualified for the job, but they knew somebody who knew somebody, and because of nepotism and because somebody could play golf, that they got the job? Because I'm telling you, when it comes to us, we're always second guessed. Even the commander-in-chief, who did a great job, was ridiculed because of stuff that we're seeing that another man who shouldn't have had the job got in, messed things up, and we tout him, or some people tout him as a great president. And I understand what you all are saying. I don't think bad hiring practices should be tolerated. It shouldn't. But I believe that whoever this person is has a slant to this story. And I think it's a DEI thing that people may not like. But again, being on the golf course and knowing somebody's daddy or knowing somebody's uncle who could get you into Disney to have a high-ranking position is definitely a form of affirmative action as well. But it's affirmative action for white people. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I completely agree with you. I think nepotism has been a major problem in the American economy. I think a lot of minorities have gotten overlooked. However, I also think that it is a double-edged sword, all these affirmative action and inclusion projects, because they get the ability to now say, well, we're hiring these minorities, we're hiring these people of color, and businesses aren't doing well because they're just using that as the parameter for why they're hiring, instead of like, okay, we're going to look at all the applicants we have, their ability to do the job, and then we're going to make sure we have people from each group in so that we're diverse. If they're sitting there saying that someone, like how K-Dub said, someone doesn't look black enough, but they're highly qualified, that's problematic as well. Because I have plenty of people in my family that are mixed race, and a lot of people in my family look Hispanic, but they're still black. So would they not get hired because they look more white? Like, black is a beautiful rainbow, and it comes from the deepest chocolate to pure albino. So but I hear what you're saying about the slant. Does this person have a personal axe to grind against Disney, and are they using this to carry it out? That is a viable point. But
Yeah, Disney is no angel. They're not. They are not. And their hiring practices and what they do is crazy because, I hate to say it, but a gay man could probably get hired quicker at Disney in some capacities than a straight man. That's just real.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yep, you're right.
Facts.
It happens all the time. Go ahead, Omni.
Pretty much everything Raw B said. What's up, Raw B? What's going on, Sel? And I don't know the gentleman to the right of me's name, but
Pastor Wilson.
Pastor who?
Wilson.
Oh, Wilson, Jay Wilson.
You can just call me Jay Wilson. It's all good.
Okay. But what Ross said, especially on the part of, let me turn on my mic. What Ross said, especially on the part of it being a double-edged sword, people could just use this to hire anybody in, make black people look bad as a result. Because look, we hired a black person and now they're underperforming. So because they weren't the most qualified for the job, or we dumped a heavy workload on them, a greater workload than normal. Anything could be manipulated in this scenario. I've never been a fan of affirmative action for that reason, because when the stats come back, they show that the students in the college sense were unprepared to step into places like Harvard. Those particular students, they didn't necessarily pick the best black students or the most capable or the most qualified. They just picked, oh, they're black, let them on in. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think in anything, the results do not matter, do not care what your skin color is. And that's how I've always operated.
Well, I have this rebuttal.
You got
so if we're not going to have affirmative action, then we need to scrap legacy admission as well. Because I know a lot of rich people, kids who are not qualified to go to Harvard and Yale, but they get in. See,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, we can't have one without the other. And thank God for affirmative action. We wouldn't have had Thurgood Marshall. Unfortunately, the man who's trying to scrap affirmative action, who got in by affirmative action, is a mess right now. And we know that is Clarence Thomas, and he should never be on the Supreme Court in the first place. But affirmative action helped him to get in. But he's the one who wants to scrap affirmative action.
Wait, what's the beef with Clarence Thomas?
Hey,
Wait, I'm missing out a lot. What happened with Clarence Thomas? You talking about the black judge, right?
Yes.
What happened with him?
He's trying to dissemble everything that has advanced black people throughout all of history.
Oh, for real? Oh, fuck that nigga then. That's how simple I am. Anything against black folk, fuck you.
Yeah. I think black people deserve a fair shot, but you know what I'm saying, the part where the numbers can get manipulated, nah. And some advantages. Listen, there's also the dynamic in this that, listen, when it comes to unfair treatment, everybody gets a turn. It just so happens to be the Caucasian male.
Yeah. Or anyone that doesn't look black enough.
Or anyone that doesn't, that one is crazy.
Damn.
Can I say, if you give black people a really fighting chance, they're going to perform. We see that in sports. Simone Biles, she's Simone Biles, period. She's a good gymnast, whether she's black, white, whatever, but she got the right training. The Williams sisters. And I think that really scares white people, because they always have put out that we are inferior or not the best. But we can see that these women are dominating sports where white people usually dominate. And now, I know it's sports, but it goes to say that that's anything. I don't know if you all are aware of St. Mary's Academy in New Orleans, where those two African-American women found the a way to prove the Pythagorean theorem using trigonometry, which had not been done before. And white people were astonished, and they didn't even want to give those girls their props. But with the right tools, we can do that. So my thing is, I understand what you're saying on your end, but if you give people an equal playing field, they'll perform. So it goes to show you that we're not dumb. We can do it, and we can do anything, but maybe that people are afraid that we will do and meet the occasion and rise to the occasion. And I think a lot of that has to do with that as well.
I agree.
All right, let's get back to the video.
He gives the director. I mean,
For each show, for each.
not that specifically, but like, hey, I want every show to have substantial.
Iger, even as a chief diversity officer, now up until recently, that was Latondra Newton, who played a big part in dragging Disney full bore into its losing culture war by promoting discriminatory hiring practices and introducing gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, and other characters into Disney's children's animated series and films.
It's like an all-across thing, like all of HR. There's like that one specific person that kind of like, because I forgot the lady's name. She's the head of the.
I know you're talking about the head of the diversity. Yeah.
The African American lady. Yeah. So is that like kind of her deciding?
She oversees a lot of that for sure. But it's pretty broad, I would say. There are other people in HR who are also focused on that. I would say a relatively large percentage of our top writer creators happen to be there. And a lot of
Just by happenstance.
I mean, like, just like if you say whatever, I don't know, whatever 10 or 15% of the population is gay, I would guess that 30 to 35% of our top writers are gay. And so I think a lot of them lean into trans stories more than the average straight writer would.
And in an odd twist, you have to be a white Jewish guy to be considered for a C-suite job. More on that next week. But now let's meet Los Angeles-based Michael Giordano, a white male and Walt Disney's senior vice president of business affairs.
I do.
And before anyone says anything, I just want to put this small little disclaimer out. Doing journalism and pulling up people's job information is not doxing. It's just journalism. I want to put that out there very quickly before anyone says, "Oh, he support doxing." No, it's literally just journalism. I said that for a reason. I said that for a reason.
Like business affairs, so like negotiations for television.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really
So
cool.
not really like on the creative side. So a lot of it is, like knowing like the guild agreements and the union agreements and everything. Like make offers for the writers and the actors who are going to be out working on the show, and the producers and the directors, and try to get to a place where we can be able to deal with them, help the production to budget. And so much of my job is just the negotiate really. And then other people are doing kind of the drafting of the contracts. So,
Oh wow. So yeah, what's the negotiating like?
I'm like sitting down and trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna pay this actor for this role? What do we think they want?
Oh wow.
Strategize that. Everything from how you produce a show, how you distribute a show, how you exhibit a show, how you market a show, things like that. All of the negotiations and deal making necessary.
Yeah.
Actually two of our brave undercover journalist and American swiper investigative reporters met Michael on the dating app Hinge. And aside,
It's always
Is he fired?
it's who fired. More than likely, he probably will be. So
Yeah, like yo, this is wild.
if you paid any attention to how James O'Keefe does things, he gets people to meet like these top executives. Like the really big one that came out was the COVID vaccine, and how the interviewer or the journalist that worked for him met up with that official. I can't remember his name at the moment, and he met him on a gay app, and he met up with the guy, and whatever it is that transpired between the two of them, either before and or after, they went to the greatest length to get that story. So it's crazy how these top executives and all this, that, and the other, they always end up on a hidden camera after meeting up with someone on a dating app, which that's another show that we're going to be doing. We're talking about people meeting up with other people off of dating apps and then saying crazy shit to hopefully gain some type of, I guess, leadway into what could be a relationship or sex. And you're spilling out company secrets and you don't even know that you're being recorded. It's the craziest shit ever.
Right, because that's one thing. Like, these are brand new people into his circle, into his life, whatever. And he's putting his job on the line. For what? For
Look, that's why I say this is wild because so essentially they go on a date with dude, and like at the first interaction, he's having all this information extracted from him. That's crazy.
It's not extracted; it's freely given. Like if I watched the COVID vaccination video that they did, which I'm not going to say broke the internet, but it caused quite a big of a problem for quite a few pharmaceutical companies, to the point to where the guy ended up deleting all of his social medias, and we haven't heard from that guy ever again. But James O'Keefe was also tied up in a few things, especially with Joe Biden's, I believe, daughter or niece or something like that over a notebook, where FBI ended up coming and raiding the office and all this other. It was a lot that came out, but that's essentially how they get them. You see what I'm saying? They go on these dating apps or they go on these different little social media platforms, and they get real close to them. And next thing you know, a hidden camera is being is recording you. So just a safety precaution for everybody. If you meet up with anybody off of any social media platform, make sure you're not saying crazy shit. Let's continue.
Aside from this story, which focused on Disney's overt discrimination against white men, you'll see later on in this report, and it'll be quite entertaining, Michael turns out to be quite the ladies' man.
How long have you been on like dating out?
Not very long.
Have you been going out?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Anything like worth?
You know what's funny? No.
Let's dig right into Disney's blatant practices of discrimination. If you're wondering how Disney as a company looks at race, gender, and discrimination in the hiring process, about how they recruit and hire talent, look no further.
I think there are times when it's like so front and center. It's like great because that's the focus, you know. Like we have so many shows where we're casting and we're like, yeah, we're not even going to see, you know, certain people for it because we need that particular role to.
Yeah. So is it intentional that they want like they only look for diverse candidates for certain roles?
Yeah. I think there's certainly a belief that it's just good for society and a big move, but there's also a belief that like we're going to make more money if we appeal to a wider variety of people, and it's a good thing. We have shareholders too, you know, and so diversity helps with that.
So they're purposely targeting the LGBTQIA plus community. They're purposely targeting the Black community. They're purposely targeting the woke community. They're purposely targeting these people, and they don't want white people or white males in that position to where they can be viewed on screen that would then potentially bring down the potential of monetary value. Am I getting that correct?
That's what it sounds like.
But it comes with a huge downside of. Oh, I'm sorry, Wilson. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go ahead.
It comes with a huge downside, right? Because they were built on being family friendly. So you're negating your core audience in order to build up this other thing. And so if it is going to be a transition period, I don't know how invested the, you know, LGBTQ plus community and, you know, the Black community is in Disney. But when it comes to these things that are in opposition to the nuclear family dynamic, especially LGBTQ plus in particular, it's just going to be very destructive to your fan base, to your core fans.
Well, how is it going to be destructive when most of Disney is LGBTQ? And what do you consider a nuclear family base? See, this is the big thing. Disney is smart enough to know that white folk are not going to be the majority. Florida is very diverse. If you look at Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, you have, I'm a part of the LGBTQIA community. So, and from Florida. So you don't want to mess up your money. You're going to try to get as many people in as possible, whether it be Black, Hispanic, Indian American, Cuban, what have you. And so my thing is, why spend money at a place where people don't look like you? And I look at some religious spaces. If I see all and no Black folk in leadership, then why do I want to go there? So I think that Disney is trying to be smart in a sense to know that we're in this for business. This is business. And at the end of the day, money ain't gay or straight. It's just money. And if you can't see it that way, that's crazy. But I do think that it's interesting that they're talking about their writers. And I want to make sure this is very clear. There are a lot of people who have sex with men but don't identify as gay. So I want to make that clear, because we'll jump on a bandwagon that we try to put the P file on all people who are same gender loving, which is not the truth. I find out most people who identify as heterosexual have problems with that P file word, or they don't identify. So I want to make sure that's clear as well. Everybody knows that Disney is gay friendly. Everybody knows a lot of this, so that's nothing new. And in this world of diversity, it's diversity or die. But those are my thoughts and opinions.
And I agree. I agree to a point, because like families are expanding, families are growing, and a lot of people that are adults now had a point in their childhood where they were bullied, where they were traumatized, where they had struggles getting through. So when we see these adults now in a position of power, they're trying to write stories and include, their perspective, so that children that are struggling to define who they are don't have to feel ostracized and don't have to feel like they don't exist. However, when we look at economic wise, the LGBTQIA literally has the most money. And when I listen to families and I look at families that are going to Disney World and Disneyland, it's not my heteronormative nuclear family people that are going to Disney World. They don't want to spend the money. However, my friends that have adopted children or had children through surrogacy or whatever other means that, they're raising their kids now, they're going to Disney World, they're going to Disneyland, they're spending the money and standing in the lines. So it is smart to a fashion to cater to that audience as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, my biggest thing is, don't hire me because I'm black. Hire me because I can do the job, which I understand that's what a lot of people are saying. But I think that you can find black people who are capable of doing the job. And I think that we forget that black people were not afforded these positions for so long. I'm from Florida. Kennedy Space Center is right across from, where I live. They just started hiring a lot of black managers, because it used to be a lot of the good old boy systems where I knew people who didn't even have a degree, but they were white and they knew somebody and they could get a job. So if white men are suffering, think about what black men and women had to go through all of these years and join the club. And I think that we don't realize that Jim Crow has not been that long ago. I mean, we act like stuff hasn't happened, and it just kills me that we act like we kumbaya and everything is all right and good. And we're not all right and good. We really are not. And again, I go back to Obama. If this is the man who's a president and folk acting like he is trash and incompetent, which he wasn't, and he had all the credentials, think about what happened after him with this man who's running for president again. So I'm looking at these things and I understand, but that's why I really look at the slant of this man. I don't have a problem with diversity, equity, and inclusion when it's done right. I don't have a problem with that. But I see some slants going on in this story, and that's why I question it. But I'm not a fan of Disney, but I know what they do. But that's that, and I get back on Disney. There's a lot of things that I do not like about them, but that's here or there.
Jay Wilson, I have a question for you. Come off mute for 1 second. I have a question for you. You said that it's a few things that you don't like about DEI, either training practices or what have you. What's a few things you don't like about DEI or don't agree with?
Well, let me say this. We need it. I think we should have had DEI before we did this integration, because now our educational system is messed up because there are people who are still upset that we integrated. And it's really interesting too that my parents who went to segregated schools and have second down, hand me down everything are judges, lawyers, and doctors. And now our kids with everything supposedly are suffering to even get high math and science scores. So, but the problem I have with diversity, equity, and inclusion is not from the black perspective. It's from the other perspective. You cannot have diversity and inclusion without equity. And my thing is, until people see you as equal, you'll never have diversity and inclusion. So those are the problems that I have, because people really need to take a hard look at themselves and what has happened, and see people as equal for that, and not be intimidated by other people and their gifts and their skills. And that's how I feel. I think that's the problem, because we have because people who are liberal can be just as racist as those who are conservative. And so I think we just need to look at that. That's the problem, the main problem that I have. If you're going to do the program all the way. And if we're going to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, make sure we see everybody as equal.
I've worked for 3 different companies, managed 2, where DEI training was paramount. It was something that you had to complete before you could complete even on-the-job training. Excuse me. I think it was very important, because one of the jobs which I managed for, it was a very diverse group, a very progressive group, and they said it without saying it. But one of the things that they said during the hiring process, when it was bringing on, they was like, okay, so you do understand that you're going to be doing the hiring and the firing and the management and all that and the other. I was like, yeah, I understand. That's not a problem. There's like, okay, so how do you feel about working with the trans community, working with the gay community, working with the lesbian community, working with all these different members of the LGBTQIA plus community? And I was like, they're still employees. They're still people. They still deserve the respect that anyone else would be getting. So that was one of my biggest things, about getting that DEI training done. But then something happened. As a black man, I noticed something that happened. Something that happened was when this was right after COVID had the outbreak. It was during Black History Month. That's something that happened with this company. I noticed that within this company, we got the snippets when it came to Black history. And I'm pretty sure this has happened across a span of jobs across not just America, but just across the world, period. But during Black History Month, we got the snippets. We got our usual Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, all of those, those small, wonderful stories. But then when it came to Pride Month, when it came to gay marriage and stuff like that, we went above and beyond the scope of what we did for Black History Month. So I brought it up in the meeting. I said, hey, I have a quick question. There's like, what's that? I said, my question is this. During Black History Month, we didn't even do promotion for any of the product that we were selling, let alone show that we were standing with the people of the Black community in support of Black History Month, to celebrate our Black leaders, the movements that we have made, the sacrifices that we have made, the things that we have went through. I said, but when it comes to Pride Month, when it comes to gay rights, when it comes to trans rights and all that and the other, I said, y'all went as far as to updating the app specifically for that. I said, I just want to ask, what was the general focus here? And the answer that I got back professionally was, here at this company, I'm not going to say the name of that company. Here at this company, we're a very progressive company, and we want to be very inclusatory to everyone. The unprofessional answer I got was, gay money is better than straight money. And I was like, so as a straight Black man, you're telling me that even during Black History Month, where this country was built upon the sweat and the blood and the bones and the skin of the people of my culture and my background, we are storing the history into this company. You saying that we don't matter that much? And he was like, it's not that you don't matter that much. It's just that we know where the money is. So even while listening to this expose on Disney from Michael, and I was hearing that, and I'm in agreement with you that there's no such thing as the gay dollar. The gay dollar is a straight dollar, but it's a targeted marketing move. Would you agree, or am I wrong?
Well, this is the thing. The Blacks of the 50s, 60s, and 70s were adamant. They would fight for anything. But then we got comfortable. We got lazy. And again, these gay folk, I'm involved in that community. They fight. They go to court. They do things that we used to do. And I think that, and you got to realize that this is not just a color. you're dealing with people of all nationalities at this particular point. And it's not even about the money. It's about really being very vocal and ready to go. This is my thing. I ask myself, would King have this sway over people now? Because everybody is so individual. I'm gonna do my own thing, and so I look at that kind of stuff. I am Black, and I am going to fight for Black progress. I see when racism hits, even in the LGBTQIA community, I will call racism out, because there's racism there. Don't get it fooled. There's racism there as well.
There's problems within the LGBTQ community?
Of course, it is.
Where the hell have I been? What the fuck? Wait, what? Wait, I thought that was a collective group where everybody was good.
Well, no. That's why you have Black Pride, and that's why you have Pride. So Splash and Black Pride is there. I mean, it's going to be racism anywhere. Anytime, again, this is why diversity, equity, inclusion is so important, because I was in a meeting where I had to check some white gay man. I'm like, excuse me, you need to put your white privilege at the door. I'm like, you as a white man can do X, Y, Z. You don't have the double stuff that I got to go through. So I'm just letting you know right now. So again, I know who I am as a Black man as well. But, as long as you got people who look different, you always going to have racism, or you're going to have prejudice. No one can escape that. But I think that we really need to get on the ball, because we have so many Black people in the C-suite. As soon as they get in the sweet seat, they think they have made it and everybody's beneath them and they can't deal with us no more. And then when that man shows him or her who they really are and how they feel about them, then we go back to the Black folk. How many Black people have we seen rise up to these top tier positions, and then the man put them down, and then the next thing you know, they coming back to the Black people that they forgot. So again, we listening to the National Negro Anthem, and in the last part it says, "Lest our heart drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee," and we forget stuff. That Negro Anthem, or the Black National Anthem, is very prophetic song. So my thing is, I came from the trailer to a very modest home, and at the end of the day, I know where I came from, and I'm very humbled from my meager beginnings in the state of Florida, which was a very racist state. And in America, a man who's same gender loving Black can go and get an education and live a good life. So don't get me wrong. I know what's going on, but I do think diversity, equity, inclusion is important, and we need to call out mess whenever we see it. But I'm not intimidated when we have Hispanic Heritage Month or these other months, because my thing is, the oppressed is usually worse than the oppressor. And I think we really need to realize that. We can learn that lesson from Liberia and Sierra Leone, when those Black Americans went right back to Africa and they treated those indigenous people worse than any slave owner in America treated us. And I think we need to be very careful of that, because oppressed people can be worse oppressors of others.
Okay. Jay Wilson, I'm going to have to bring you back, because I've always wanted to do a show, but I've been very careful about it, because I've been hearing, I had a few employees, one in particular, that's my G. And he was telling me, and I'm addressing him by his identity. He was telling me, he was like, man, you don't understand. As a trans person, I get so much hate. I'm like, from who? He was like, well, from within my community. But that's another topic for another day. But Jay Wilson, I do want you to come back and be a part of that conversation. Omni, you was about to say something, then I want to get to the video, because in a little bit I gotta get up out of here. Go ahead, Omni.
Oh no, I'm just taking it in. I'm taking in someone else's experience. Yeah. That's I'm trying not to cuss, but that's something else when you talk about there being racism in the LGBT. I never heard of that. Yeah, I never knew that. I never knew that.
I knew it was beef.
Well, of course it is. Let me tell you something. When you start telling Black people you can't come to the clubs with a hoodie on and and the club is predominantly white, that is a problem. so black people get it as well. And so in the LGBT community, that's why we have Black Pride. That's why we have black clubs. So even in the community, all is not well there either. And this is why DEI is important, because again, people think because they're liberal that they don't have any issues, but somebody has to bring people back to reality, say that you still white, you may be gay, but when we were dealing with the HIV and AIDS crisis, white men were getting the medicine while black men and black people of trans and Hispanic men of color were dying. So we all know that. That's in the community. So we all know that. And they were the first ones to get these breakthrough medicines. So, I mean, it's there. It is there. So if I say that we don't have a problem in that community, I would be lying to you all. I would definitely be lying to you all.
Damn, baby, you got anything before I go on?
Nope. I mean, I'm here for it. I've been knowing that there's problems with race within the community. There's problems with race within every single community. I think it's intriguing that people just think that, the LGBTQIA is just one banner and everything is everything. Like when everything happened with BET, there was a rip right there too. Like a lot of people died.
And don't even mention BET, because that's a betrayal of black people right there. This is a man who had a viable television station that was so innovative and breakthrough and cutting edge, and then he sells it to Viacom, which is CBS. And when you start taking away black news, once you take away the news, then you don't have a network anymore. So we watch Bob Johnson sell BET to Viacom, and look what BET is now. It's a shell of what it was back in the day. And this is the problem. We can't sit here and blame LGBTQIA people for being vocal when we have a billionaire who...
Damn, his sound cut out. Come on. Come back.
wait.
Jay Wilson.
Give him a minute. He's probably driving around. He's going to go.
It was getting good. Jay Wilson.
Yeah, I appreciate the perspective, actually. Yeah.
He gonna come back when he get back into a better place.
All right.
But
let's go ahead, baby.
No, go ahead with the video, because I know you got to get out of here soon. It's on.
All right, cool. Let's go.
Diversity helps with financial incentive. So is it?
By the way, Jay Wilson, I'm not skipping over what you said. It's just that your sound cut out. So I'm gonna just play the video till you come back.
Like, do you think it's more so on that side, or using like any good prices that's put to use, or
regardless? I think it gives them regardless, but I think that there are like even conservative people who may not want to lean into it can easily make the argument that like we make more money when we have to deal with a wider variety of people, and that means diversity.
Yeah,
there's a real focus on every show. And I'm sure the movies too, though I don't deal with that side of it. So, just making sure that the writers' room has a real, diversity, not just gender or sexual orientation and ethnicity, but making sure that they're hiring some writers who have certain disabilities where they want to be hired. Since there's kind of a really
Wait, they discriminate. Wait. So they purposely go for people who have disabilities too?
Yeah. So okay.
This is wild.
This is crazy.
It is crazy. But if you have a subscription to Disney, right? In Disney, they have these little shorts that they do. They're Sparks, right? So Disney Plus has the Sparks, and what they've been doing in the Sparks, and it's a catch-22 because I have a child that has, special needs. They've been making sure to be more inclusive to children with special needs, more inclusive to children that are part of the LGBTQIA community, and the people that are actually writing and creating that content, well, they belong and they're telling their stories. Like, hold on, I'm about to pull up one. We're not going to play it because Disney doesn't play that, honey. We It's down real quick.
Shut down the whole stream.
Yeah. It'll be over with. It'll be like, what happened to the stream?
Yeah, what happened?
But they have one where it's like, I think it's called like Clap or something like that, where it's talking about autistic children, but they have one. Oh, look, they have a whole Pride collection over there, and it's like Howard. They have Glad Media Award winners and nominees, LGBTQIA love stories, icons and allies. Out. That's the Spark short. It's called Out. Now this, I just have to say, you guys have to go watch it. It's not one that I allow my children to watch because I think it's for an older audience. It's not really for little kids, but it's a lot. But then they also have Sparks for 20 something, which is based on the African American women. They have Smash and Grab, which is talking about like, you know, AI and tech. They have Float, which is talking about a parent that, you know, is going through some things with their children. Pearl, like it which deals with the DEI in the workforce. Burrow, like it's a lot. Disney really has been stepping up their games, and it's a lot. It's a lot. But people that,
to circumvent some things.
I don't even know if it's to circumvent or if it's to reach bigger audiences of children. Like they even have one that's Nona, and I think that one deals with a grandmother who wanted to spend the day alone, and then she got her biracial grandchild dropped off to her. So like it's you know it's a lot. Disney doing a lot. Disney doing a lot. Disney doing a lot. I guess I could show the screen if we don't play it.
Just don't play the content.
Let me see if it'll even let me share the screen, because honey, Disney don't even let you share the screen sometimes. They really? Serious. Yeah, it'll black out.
Disney is so cold that they had a daycare that wanted to do the Disney characters, and they went and they had to paint it all over because Disney was about to sue the daycare. So I think Hanna-Barbera or one of those allowed the daycare to do it. Disney's that they don't play with their characters or their trademarks.
They don't. And as you see, so this is the Out Spark short. And then they have, like I said, Burrow, 20-something, Nona, Kitbull, Smash and Grab, Pearl, Flow. And it's a whole bunch of other ones as well. But we ain't going to play with Disney but too much.
Yeah,
Listen.
Yeah, that was probably too much.
And
one of the jobs that I worked in customer service, you know, I was fortunate enough to speak with someone who works in Disney. And they are so serious at Disney that you have to get approval for certain pieces of furniture to even be in the office.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot. We got a lot going on. They're serious. This doesn't go with our schematic. This doesn't go with the overall theme or tone that we want. So you can't have this particular item. And the lady was losing it because she needed the desk for the grand opening of the particular, you know, exhibit, and she wasn't finna have it. And it was a bad day in America.
Jesus. All right, let's get to some more.
There's a really broad look whenever we're doing to make sure that everybody gets.
Yeah.
So they talk a big game about DEI, but do they actually do it? Apparently so. They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
Yeah.
We had a situation where we wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't like appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not like that's not what's like."
They wanted the full.
They wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting.
And so this is like on the.
So
appear a certain way. I remember, like, well, look.
What the hell?
This is crazy for me because as a kid growing up in America, I remember where a man could be too black. You know what I'm saying? You could look too black and now it's, oh yeah, you're not black enough. Being told that at a meeting, you don't look black enough.
Well, you know.
Well, maybe somebody can tell that to Bravo with the Real Housewives of Potomac, because I guess they still working on that you light skin and you win. I mean, I don't know. And again, being in Florida, I know personally that Bird Eyes of Florida, which is the department store, they hired all these light-skinned black folk, and you rarely saw any dark skin because I guess those white folk felt more comfortable with those light-skinned people. So even though it doesn't sound good, but think about those dark-skinned black people who have suffered discrimination all of this time. And I'm not saying that it's right, but I just think it's funny.
My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I just think it's funny now that they're looking for somebody real dark. It sounds like they're looking for somebody with dark features and strong lips and nose features. It sounds like
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the definition of black enough?
I don't know. I guess that's what it is.
You know what that speaks back to, and I know quite a few people who have went through it. Baby, I believe you went through it. When you, as a kid, when you're growing up, you too light, you ain't black, this, that, and the other. For some people, and I'm not assigning this to you, Ro, but for some people, that has attributed to I don't want to call it PTSD, but I'll call it PTSD just because I'm just short-terming it for right now. But for people who are even in their adult years, they light-skinned, they don't feel, or they have been made to feel like they don't have enough to contribute to the black community because the black community pretty much outed them like, oh, you too light, you white, you pale, you this, you yellow, all these different names. And to know that people is that a man, now that we know we have the gender, we have a black man who was up for promotion, they told him he wasn't black enough. Well, if he wasn't black enough for the promotion, how come he was black enough to get the position? What happened? So you have to be a certain level of blackness to hit a certain level of pay grade? Is that what we're doing here? That's not right at all.
Listen, when they want you to be in these meetings, okay, they want that urban feel. Let's just talk about it. They want that urban feel. So you can't be you can't be too light in the face, and you have to have a little neck roll, a little eye roll, a little snapping, and a whole lot of slang. When you speak proper, people don't really look at you as super black. They're like, oh God, they're out of touch with the urban community. We can't use that. That's not helpful.
So if Omni show up in the Dickie outfit and Jay Wilson show up in a suit and tie, who do you think they would pick?
Omni.
They're gonna pick me because I'm between both. I'm not too dark or too light.
I gotta walk into the meetings like this and shit.
And you gotta walk in listening to 50.
But that's Jay Wilson. You're not super urban, so they're not gonna.
Okay, I'm right in between, so I think I'm universal black.
That would be some bullshit to be like, you know what, Mr. Wilson, we appreciate you applying for this position, but we're gonna go ahead and go another direction. It's just like, all right, so
who's the next candidate come up saying,
and here come Omni. You can find me in the club.
What's up, Shouty? I appreciate the opportunity.
my Afrocentric brothers,
But you got to realize that Disney Orlando is definitely different than Disney California, and it seems like they have major operations both in Florida and in California, but it seems like the headquarters in Burbank. But it's different. I mean, what's black in California is different than what's black in Florida. That's why I didn't wear those it's a black thing you wouldn't understand t-shirts, because there's some black things in Mississippi that I don't understand being from Florida.
Amen. Said, what y'all doing? Chitterling, Susie, your nose.
Right, let's get back to a little bit more before I gotta get it.
Like, if your nose isn't big enough, then you can't get never mind. No,
bro, do you know how pissed I would be? Now, I ain't gonna lie. I was up for a promotion at one time at a job, and this is back in my immature years. I was up for a promotion at a job, and they told me they was going with somebody else, and I was like, bet, cool, it is what it is. And when I seen the person that they brought in, I'm just like, really? You know what I'm saying? And that was off my own immaturity. That was just off my visuality of them alone. But that person did do a better job of what I could possibly do because they had the storied history and background. They had the career that was perfectly set for that job. I was just an employee there for a little while, and I gained some knowledge about the job, but they came in, they offered more. But I get it. that would like that's why I used Omni and Jay Wilson as the example. It's just like if y'all gonna hire basically off visuals alone, who would Disney pick?
But but let me go a little step farther. Let's go with the movies and the writing. How many times have we heard black actors and actresses say that we had to help the writers because they were not black, and these weren't things black people would say. These are some things that Hispanic people or other people of color would not say. And I think that you had the shows like Cosby and Different World and Living Single where they had black writers, and this is where I think that the diversity, equity, and inclusion plays a major role, especially in the creative spaces, because there are some things that a white writer is not going to get correct because he or she does not have that experience. And I think that's very important. How many stereotypes have we witnessed because these were all white writers and they thought this would be funny, but because they never dealt with black people or were in the presence of black people, that they didn't get it. So this is when it comes to the movies and the things like this, where I think that Disney may get it right, because when you're writing for people, you want a real authentic type of dialogue and a feel that people can relate to. I'm not a Laotian or an Asian male, so I couldn't write for that dynamic of people. Even if I hung around them, I might know some nuances, but this is why we need to bring people in, because it gives people their authentic feeling. And again, when people see that that person looks like me, I can do this. I don't know who that trans person is who did Pose, but I thought that was groundbreaking, because again, you have a trans woman writing scripts for a trans show that did extremely well when it was on network television.
Yeah, I believe there was some blowback for quite a few shows or movies. I can't think of any titles of them. I just remember catching little snippets here and there. Excuse me, where they had either a straight person writing for a trans actor or a trans show, or vice versa. And it's just like, why would you? It's almost like whitewashing, right? I know one of the biggest problems I had, at least with I don't know if this was a Disney production or not, but Ghost in the Shell. What's the girl's name from Marvel? She played Black Widow.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. When they cast Scarlett Johansson to play Makoto, I'm just like, why are we doing this? There was no reason whatsoever. Y'all should have. And the movie flopped. It was bad. I watched the movie, and as much of a background as I have into anime, I was pissed when I watched that movie, because I'm just like, I'm not saying that she doesn't sing Japanese enough, but it didn't seem right. It didn't fit right. You see what I'm saying? And like, I understand why it is that you will want a certain type of writer for a certain type of be careful, very careful with this camera. Why you will want someone to be in the position who can really lead that project to really hit that target audience that you're looking for. I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I had a problem with Disney. Let me tell you something. As much as I like the Proud Family, I had a problem with those 3 black girls being gray. Because they were bad, they were gray. Dijonay, we naming people after mustard. Dijonay. I mean, I love the show, but certain things that just popped out at me, like, I don't know if I would go with that.
Yeah, it happens.
And that was the Proud Family. But let me say, it was funny. But some things I just said, I would question. But that's a Disney thing.
Yeah,
that's true.
A little bit more of the video.
This was on the
corporate side, like the business side.
Never understood that. It's like, 'cause I know a lot. Like, I have like a lot of black friends who like are not as dark as So do they care about that, or it's like the ethnicity actually?
They say they don't care about it, but the truth is, to some extent, they do. If you're mixed, but you don't look black at all, which sometimes happens, then they're like, oh, I'm not so sure. But if you're mixed and you can tell somebody's part black, but they're not like that black, so okay, that was so. Yeah.
So what about albino people?
You can tell albino people are black though.
Yeah, but wow,
Babe,
The features cannot be denied.
Babe, you know about my best friend. I showed you a picture of my best friend. You know who he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
His dad is darker than me. Mom is white as snow. When you look at a picture of my best friend, you would assume he's 100% white until you see his dad, who's 100% black. So if my friend was to go try to get a job at Disney, he would be fucked. That's crazy as fuck. But we're gonna watch a little bit more. That's crazy.
Crazy.
But apparently, Meghan Markle is black enough. You can't make this up.
So would like Meghan Markle.
Who the fuck is Meghan Markle?
She had this thing with the prince. Apparently, my girl told me that she is an actress. I've never followed her. I don't know what she in. So
wait,
I guess
of England?
Disney's, huh?
Of England?
Yeah. Didn't Meghan Markle like get married to the prince or some shit?
I don't know. I've rarely.
Yeah, she did get married to.
Yeah, it was a big thing.
And the royal family, according to her, doesn't like her because she's black, and now they have a black person in the royal lineage, but it's a whole bunch
this
of
woman on screen.
Yes.
Oh, but she's black enough. All right. Okay.
Yeah, she's black. She's blickety black.
She looked like the show Seinfeld. She looked like Elaine from Seinfeld.
She does, but you know what? Ooh, see, we got to get through this movie. You know what we need to talk about, babe? That movie.
This is gonna happen. I'm gonna have to leave, but you got control of the stream. I'm gonna have to shut down the stream on that one particular platform, but I'm gonna leave it up, and then you can shut it down because this conversation is too good.
Yeah, but you have controls of the video, so we could also do a part 2 of this. I mean, we have what, like 15 minutes? Let's play the rest of the video and then do our final thoughts.
Okay.
White.
Right. Yeah.
Would she be considered?
She would still be
diverse,
yeah.
Huh? As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney, saying, quote, "As far as Disney is concerned, I'm a white male."
You know, I'm like a half step below a department head. I have a team under me, but I don't oversee a whole department. And I'd like to oversee a whole, whether that's at Disney or having to leave.
Okay. Do you think that you'll have the opportunity at Disney?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not what they're looking at promote at the moment.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
So,
do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I don't know a lot, but it's something to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think the competition is?
Oh, I mean, I've been up for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and you know, haven't gotten.
Okay, and they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their?
One or two cases, you know, I was told very explicitly that it did.
Damn. Where is my Ron Simmons button? Hold on. Where is it?
Shit.
Do I not have the damn no more?
Yeah, they let his ass go as soon as this came out. They let him. I could see him called into the office. Yeah, we're not really sure that you want to be here. We're not really too.
Well, I looked him up on LinkedIn while we were sitting here talking, and his LinkedIn ain't up there no more.
That's what usually happens. That's what usually happens.
Hey,
that's what usually happens. Anytime there's a Project Veritas thing that comes out, expose of this magnitude, They take down they shit. I really want to. I got to get the dam back up there because this is too funny.
He wanted. He was just trying to get his dick wet. I'm sorry, it's Sunday. Goddamn. He was just trying.
Like, this is the thing too. What makes him think this is attractive on a date? On a date, I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna bash my employer, and I'm gonna tell you how crappy my employer is because this is where I get my money. So if you're interested in dating me, you need to know I don't have a future at the company that I work for because they're racist and I don't fit the archetype they're looking for. Damn! That is not attractive. It's not attractive.
So I got a job at a high-paying company, but just to let you know, I might get fired because I'm black, and it's just like, oh, so you about to be broke? You about to enter your soft guy era? Like, wait a minute.
Let me sleep with you right now. Like, what? I'm really just trying to understand as we've been watching this, and we've been having some dope conversation. Thank you to Jay Wilson for coming up. I mean, he had to drop off. We appreciate you for being here while you were here. But I'm trying to understand because this is not just one woman. This is two women. You're saying you're crying like this to every woman that you're dating right now. Does that make you a beta?
Hey, does my future brokenness get your pussy wet?
I'm not playing with either one of you. Finish the video.
Omni, if a chick came to you and you on a date with this chick and she's like, yeah, I'm about to get let go from my job. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to sleep on your couch. I'll clean your house.
My parents is putting
me out. Even stay the night. I don't understand.
I got a great relationship with you. I already got a great relationship with your kids. We already met it, so.
No, but you gotta understand, this is like day one, just like day one, day two.
Right, day one. This is what I'm saying. Like on the first, like she's getting this much information up out of him. On the first,
I mean,
damn,
it's crazy because we both content creators, so let's just go get an Airbnb and bring your kids. It works. Why not? Just saying. Exactly, CCD. Check, please. Check, please. Can I please get the check? My shit. I ain't paying for her shit. Can I get the check, please?
Why do the women on dates is why he's single? Exactly. It's the wine, okay? He's drinking rosé. The rosé is doing him dirty.
Wait a minute. It's like you sitting down and just like, all right, so what do you want to eat? I want to get this $40 steak, this $30 bottle of wine. I want to get this drink that costs $18. Oh, you know what? I want to get some sides too. And then while you eating, oh yeah, by the way, I'm about to get let go from my job. It's like, wait, how much money you got with you? We said we going Dutch.
I wasn't planning on washing dishes tonight.
Hey, listen, I said we Dutch. We ain't Dutch adjacent. That's not how this works. Oh shit!
Explicitly, how? What did they tell you?
I mean, I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, "Look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for a shop. They're just not." That's
and so it's probably fair that Disney would say, "We don't."
And this is clear that this is two different women. It's clear.
Want a white person to play this role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very careful about messaging because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
It's kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male person. They say
like straight to you, or okay.
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
In like email or whatever.
After getting a dose of Disney's discrimination himself, it seems like Michael may have been hit with a reality check that discrimination against people based upon race is probably not cool.
I mean, it kind of feels like we're, at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. Now, could it get worse? It actually does. Not only does Disney discriminate against white men, it gives management bonuses to hire DEI candidates over white men, totally disregarding their level of qualification, as long as they're not white. You heard me correctly. A part of some executives' compensation package is based on hiring and retaining black hires. We saw this in the case of IBM. America First Legal has launched a lawsuit. Many people coming out of the woodwork from IBM, from these Fortune 500 companies, all saying they've experienced this. We are certain to hear from people inside Disney who've made these claims. Many people here in Los Angeles, here in Hollywood, very afraid of Disney, very afraid of retaliation against their creative productions or movies or films or jobs for speaking about this truth. But if you have been a victim of discrimination, please reach out to OMG or Citizen Journalism Foundation, and we will try to get you representation to get your rights back.
Okay. With that, I'm going to stop it right there. When we do part 2, which I'm pretty sure O'Keefe is probably doing some heavy editing on part 2, because every time there's something like this, the big one comes out and then the next one comes out. The last time something like this came out was the Twitter thing, which all of Twitter prior management ended up on Capitol Hill, I believe it was. And the motherfuckers getting questioned. But I want to get everybody's final thoughts because I gotta get up out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with you.
Man, there's so many angles I'm looking at this at. Like, first of all, he said he was a lawyer? Was that, did I hear correctly?
I heard that a couple times too, and I was confused because I'm like, wait, he's the vice president and he's a lawyer?
Yes, it's crazy. So you're a lawyer working at Disney. Got it.
Yeah, he should know about confidentiality. Like, what? Why are you talking about all of these business practices with some random? And
Well,
you're
the
not
problem
even
is-
going to get the box at the end of the night. It's crazy.
The problem is everybody does this all the time, right? And hell, I'll just use this YouTube space as just one, or these other platforms that I'm streaming to. It's like when the stream ends, people hanging up. How many YouTube scandals have you seen, and within this space, break out because of what happens in the back chat?
More than I care to, honestly.
You see what I'm saying?
Far too many, yeah.
I got screenshots, I got video recordings. He did this, she did that. It was all good when the pussy was getting wet and the dick was getting hard, but because y'all had a falling out, I'm gonna expose you. Okay. But now we're talking about something on a more legal level. If you were to even try to attempt a lawsuit at Disney, you've already spoken about this in public, and it's being brought out in video format to a major media platform such as Twitter. And now you're going to think you're going to get a lawsuit. Okay. If anything, he should have went and gotten a lawyer and said, hey, there's some things I need you to investigate, some things I want you to look at. I want to open up discovery and let's battle this out in court. But no, perfect place to do it is in an attempt to get some pussy. But go ahead, baby.
Maybe he already has initiated a lawsuit. That's why he was like, I kind of feel like a lawsuit's coming because he already initiated this. Maybe he knew. Because you gotta figure if she was recording, she probably was recording with like some glasses on or a necklace that looked a little odd. And he's like, oh, okay, this is one of these situations. Let me tell it all. Because, I've dated in the past. I've never had in-depth conversations where I'm asking somebody about the day-to-day operations of their job, especially on a first date. That's weird.
Facts.
Yeah, it's gonna be me and you. It's so rude.
I got you. No, you spot on. You spot on with it. It is weird. Like what the hell is he doing, and how does he not see the play? Like how did he not see this in advance? Like she's asking you all of these questions about your work. You think she's really that interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion that much to the point where you need to spill the beans and tell her about the hiring practices and the incentives that you get for hiring certain people over others. Like, it's, oh.
I think he was drunk.
Alcohol was definitely involved, but damn, you couldn't, like, I could take a fifth of Hennessy, you couldn't get this out of me. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's
not when my money's involved. When my money's involved, listen, we don't got nothing to talk about. What you mean? I work, I got a job. Do you got a job? That's all I want to know. Do you got a job? That's it.
And we can talk about because it seemed like they weren't even talking about anything personal on a personal level. She was talking about all business, and that activity is really weird on the date because it's a time for us to unwind and actually know who each other is. It's not just like, it's not time for a job interview. You don't have a position. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to hire me at your company. What are we doing here? But yeah, that's...
But see, this is also a date with a high value man. And I tell people all the time about these high value men. If you're dealing with a man that is focused on work and, you know, career driven, he's a vice president. So clearly he's been career driven. That's his only talking point. That's his only stream of consciousness is work. So when women are saying they want the 6-figure, 6-pack, 6 foot, are you sure? Because that is what your dates are going to look like.
So you saying it would be commonplace, it would actually be appropriate for that, him talking about work all the time?
Yes, because that's what men that make a lot of money do. They talk about work all the time because that's their focus. It's work and money.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay. But damn, but he's just a real loose lip on the first date though. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's somebody you can walk out of they 401k.
Man, there has to be a business model around. Well, clearly there is. She got the information about him, and now they building their channel off of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy though. That is that easy. That's why they say, you know what I'm saying, to defeat any man in a powerful position, just send a woman in there. They'll do it to themselves. They'll do it to themselves.
They really will. But this is the thing too. Like, this is probably why he didn't get those promotions.
Yeah, because if he already talking with the stuff that he already knows, when you get higher up in the chain and you know, like, even more information and more of how the company's inner workings are, like, keep him down there. He good where he at. Every time his name come up for promotion, he good where he at.
No, we're going to skip him over. He's probably been whining around the office because if he's talking like this to a stranger, you know, he got 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 friends at work. And he's like, oh my God, did you see what Jim did today in accounting? I can't believe him. I hate him. Look at this. They're always doing this. They can't stand white men. They're just going to keep looking me over. Blah, blah, blah. He be talking too much on the job.
Facts. I know somebody where I work that talks way too much. Yeah, there's a lot of things about his life I didn't care to know. He owes money to the IRS, whatnot. I don't know. But
you know, his firstborn son's blood type and everything, I'm sure.
Hey, man. Social security number.
Right.
Like, so this is really a lesson, and I'm gonna land my play here. This is really a lesson. People, mind your business. Keep to yourself. The people that you work with ain't your friends. People that, you know what I'm saying, you go out on a date with some random, don't give her all the company secrets. Okay? She's more than likely not that interested. And if she is that interested, sum the fuck up. That's it. I didn't mean to curse again on a Sunday, my bad. But that's my final thoughts.
No, you fine, and thank you, because we about to get up out of here. I don't know what Sel got going on, but my little munchkin is over here getting on my nerves. So thank you for joining us today. Be back for part 2, honey. We got a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to be talking about. Get into the content. We love you. Take care. Peace.